Over in the UK, a very interesting flavor was made available to fans, one with quite the history to back it up. It went under the name Amp Energy Drink, powered by Mountain Dew. At first glance, this appears to be another Adrenaline Mountain Dew branding situation, and it is, but in order to truly understand the importance of this particular release, we gotta go back to 2001, with the release of Amp Energy Drink from Mountain Dew. To many, the original Amp Energy does not count as a Mountain Dew flavor, but they would be wrong. Not only does it clearly present as a spinoff, but it's very much treated like a new flavor entry. Not only did 2001's Amp include the mention of Mountain Dew, its actual flavor is just a spin on OG's Lemon Lime Citrus. With its energy drink status, it also included additional caffeine. Obviously, Pepsi wanted to launch Amp by piggybacking it off the Mountain Dew name, and it appeared to have worked, with Amp proving successful enough to receive a sugar-free variation and a few of its own spin-offs. The first being Amp Overdrive in 2007, described as having an intense cherry hit. Again, it's obvious what they were doing here. Overdrive was Amp's code red. This time, the Mountain Dew association was indicated by a logo stamp over the old phrasing of "from." Later that same year, Overdrive alongside the original Amp would receive another new look with another Dew logo alteration. This new logo actually looked to be a step back with its more subtle off-right positioning and monochrome color. A new naming convention was also started with Overdrive, now including the subtitle of Turbo Boost Yerba Mate. This was done in an attempt to shift Amp away from its original gamer/sports fan demographic to a more general productivity-based health-based crowd. This was made clear with the next three flavors, Relaunch, Elevate, and Traction, all released in 2008. These three all had the same corner logo and all included subtitles meant to define their dedicated purpose. Relaunches was to revive you via electrolytes and B vitamins, Elevates was to increase focus via L-theanine, and Traction's goal was to maintain energy via maltodextrin and D-ribose. This premise was unique and interesting, but confusing as each flavor essentially had two names. It also was likely all a gimmick excuse to riff off of the Mountain Dew name with similar variants from the past, with Relaunch being flavored orange citrus, Elevate being mixed berry, and Traction being grape. It appears Relaunch was also made available in the United Arab Emirates under the name Recharge, though it's possible that was a different flavor entirely. As for Amp in the States, Pepsi did eventually speak up and say that Amp had reached a point of success where they wanted to start downplaying Mountain Dew's involvement while maintaining a hint of it. Turns out that meant a complete abandonment, as 2008's Relaunch, Elevate, and Focus were the last to be seen with a Mountain Dew logo. For that reason, we will no longer dive deep on the many remaining Amp flavor entries, but because of their extreme lack of documentation, for fun, we will rapid-fire list every single one in order. After the three, there was Amp Slurpee Freeze, themed around Iron Man, complete with 4 collector's cups, 3 Slurpee spoons, plus a helmet mug like Darth Dew's Yoda. An energy shot vitamin supplement, flavored jackfruit citrus. A lemonade flavored lightning charge, also available in sugar-free. There were 2 tea flavors, black tea rebuild and green tea defend. A NASCAR Dale Earnhardt Jr. collab under the name Trade and Paint, flavored orange lime berry. 3 Lebanon exclusives flavored grape, citrus, and a third blue can confusingly labeled Classic by the makers of Sting. There was an Amp Energy Citrus Energy Gum, 2 energy juices flavored orange and mixed berry. In 2012, the main core flavors got rebranded, with them now going under the names Boost, Boost Sugar Free, Boost Cherry, Active Orange, Focused Mixed Berry, Boost Grape, Active Lemonade, and Active Lemonade Sugar Free. To add to this confusion, Canada's rebrand featured another batch of new names. In 2013, that's when we finally circle back to the UK's Amp Energy Drink powered by Mountain Dew, which of course includes the logo only because this was the country's first experience with the Amp brand. These unique 500ml cans in concept are essentially the same as the US's 2001 original Amp, but with a different look. Back in the US, there was the New Gold Apple and Dale Jr. Sour Grape. Honduras debuted Power, quite possibly the most obscure Amp ever, flavored mixed fruits. The US's roster then got rebranded/revamped, with the available options now being Original, Cherry Blast, Strawberry Limeade, Passion Fruit, Watermelon Zero, and Blueberry White Grape Zero. Tropical Punch eventually joined the group, after first being a Twitch-branded 7-Eleven exclusive. That was followed by the Vitamin C-centered boosted twins of Mandarin Orange and Wild Berry Cherry. Then things get significantly more confusing when looking into the Spanish flavors, most of which go under the name AMP 365. These are only ever seen in Spanish-speaking countries and are extremely hard to fully understand, as some are renames, some are in glass bottles, some are in cans. Point is, in total, there appears to be 6 different variants: Forte, Recargado, Fuerza C, Power, and a gold and silver option, which are potentially original and sugar-free. Depending on the country, labels differ, sizes differ, it's all a mess that needs sorting out. When back in the US, the last real deal AMP release came in 2017, with the quad drop of Citrus, Grape, Pineapple Coconut, and Tropical Burst, all of which existed under a new organic-oriented subseries. After that, whatever flavors remained were then given another rebrand, this time with Mountain Dew logos, almost as a way of acknowledging they couldn't exist without their older brother's helping hand. These new cans visually were quite similar to the previous, except the AMP logo was clearly designed to appear smaller, which sorta conveyed the original brought to you by Mountain Dew idea. Despite a render existing and even being shown on the website's main page, Mountain Dew AMP Tropical Punch was never produced. Only 3 were ever available, eventually whittling down to only Original and Cherry Blast. For the longest time, these were the only 2 amps available to consumers. Every passing year, fans were surprised to still see them standing. In 2026, to align with the brand's logo refresh, surprisingly both Original and Cherry Blast received new looks, each with shockingly large AMP acknowledgements, almost as a way of saying, "AMP's back, baby!" The whole full circle story of AMP is so crazy, and yet you never hear it discussed. There's also a ton more to it, more foreign variations, more size options and redesigns, more name variants, many more promos, and there even exists some super obscure unreleased concept renders. The whole thing is just a huge, seemingly endless rabbit hole. Finally picking back up where we left off with AMP is 2019's 4-flavor batch of Cherry Burst, Berry Blast, Tropical Strike, and Original, all of which exist under the brand new AMP Game Fuel Charged spin-off series. This intriguing new line from Mountain Dew aimed at not only cashing in on the Game Fuel name, but also AMP Energies, which was strange given the brand's lack of relevance in 2019. In hopes of winning over the gamer demographic once again, the AMP Game Fuel Charge series introduced a new resealable lid alongside a new tactile grip texture. Of course, boosted caffeine levels were advertised as well, because according to them, it increases accuracy and alertness. Flavor-wise, each basically speaks for itself, with Original again meaning what you think it does. Because of the new tech on display and monumental mashup of pre-existing IPs, the AMP Game Fuel Charge series was pushed hard by Mountain Dew. Advertisements featuring the 4 flavors were seemingly everywhere. Not only is this series interesting for essentially being a paradoxical double spin-off, it's notable for replacing the yearly Game Fuel double release tradition. This series is also why the promotionalist Citrus Cherry dropped its Game Fuel wording in 2018, and why the 2019 Mountain Dew amps look the way they do. Several games were still advertised on the 16-ounce cans, but not in the same fun, new flavor way the original Game Fuels did. Most tie-ins were Call of Duty related, with the coolest of all being this elusive optic gaming partnership featuring the team's 6 players. AMP Game Fuel Charged was without a doubt a success, enough to where it received several future entries, not including these Adrenaline Game Fuels that just happen to use the same name and font. Like the previously seen examples, Adrenaline occasionally used the Game Fuel name, but only in Russia and some other neighboring countries. These are damn close to counting as a Dew spinoff though, as they feature the same game promo and artwork. Contrary to what many believe, the 5th entry in the AMP Game Fuel Charge lineup, Orange Storm, did not debut alongside the original 4. It instead released 8 months later, by itself, promoting the 2019 video game Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Initially, Pepsi claimed Orange Storm would be limited time, but that never ended up being the case as it joined right alongside the others as a permanent, eventually with a promotionless appearance. At some point in 2020, Orange Storm alongside the others quietly dropped the AMP wording from their titles, likely because the AMP name no longer held much weight. In addition to the name change, in 2021 the entire 5-flavor lineup was then pulled from shelves and switched to online only, signifying a potential series finale on the horizon. In the meantime, 2 flavors that did physically hit shelves in January included Amp Game Fuel Charge Zero, Watermelon Shock, and Raspberry Lemonade. Going off the new name and alternate white design, these 2 additions to the Amp Game Fuel Charge subseries were intended to give fans the option to go sugar-free. Due to their early 2020 release, versions can be found with and without the Amp subtitle. Like their full sugar relatives, they too received an occasional limited time video game tie-in. After moving to an online-only status alongside the other 5 flavors, both Zero Sugars would be axed in 2021, then Raspberry Lemonade alone would return in 2022, followed by a complete discontinuation of all current Game Fuel Charged flavors in 2023. Worth noting, with the initial Zero Sugar discontinuation announcement, there's mention of the 2 entering the Game Fuel Flavor Vault, a vault that at that point was jam-packed.